Francis Hollande, the President of France, once said, "Our single mission is to protect and hand on the planet to the next generation." This quote directs itself at the threat that climate change brings. Climate change is the single biggest problem that we face in our world today. The pressure it is putting on the Earth is immense, and experts estimate that by 2030, the climate crisis will be too strong to stop. Ecosystems are being demolished, countless species are being threatened while we stand and watch. There are currently at least 38,500 species under threat, so that's almost triple the amount of non-endangered animals. So we are really in trouble here. During this speech, I'll focus on species and ecosystems in danger. So let's kick it off with my first statement, species that are endangered and the future for them. There are countless amounts of animals being threatened, and if I named all of them, we'd be here for days. So I picked a few that I think outline the dangers that climate change brings. The polar bear, the largest carnivorous land animal, is also the most endangered. You want to know why? Because it lives in a place totally covered in ice. Or at least that's what it used to be like. Now the ice melts faster than an ice cream in summer during a heat wave. Or maybe not, but you get the idea. These ice caps disappear quickly. So then the polar bear has nowhere to go catch food. I know what you're thinking. Why don't they just hibernate like all other bears? Well, polar bears are actually the only bear that don't hibernate. So you can see why they have a bit of a problem when it comes to survival. And weighing 450 kilos, they need a large quantity of food to keep them going. Moving on to another animal that also has problems when it comes to climate change, the tiger. I know you've probably heard of how they're endangered and all that, but just over a century ago, 100,000 wild tigers roamed across Asia. Today, fewer than 3,900 live in a mere 4% of their historic range. 3 species are already extinct, and in the last species alone, 97% of wild tiger populations have disappeared. So all tigers are in a lot of danger, both now and in the future. The message is simple: love and conserve our wildlife. A quote from the great Steve Irwin. Moving on to ecosystems being threatened. Ecosystems are one of the most important parts of nature. They provide countless species of plants and animals with the things they need to survive. But sadly, these delicate ecosystems are being destroyed. There is one massive danger that is destroying the ocean ecosystem, the Pacific Garbage Patch. I'm sure some of you have heard of this colossal wasteland floating above the Pacific Ocean. The scary thing is, though, this dump is 6 times the size of New Zealand. A wasteland of rubbish that size does unbearable damage to the ocean creatures and the ecosystem itself. The plastic bottles and containers and other stuff floating on top of the ocean blocks sunlight, which will then not be able to reach the plankton and algae, which in short help keeps the sea, water and healthy and clean for other life to flourish. So if you think the top of the patch is horrible, I don't even want to know what happens below. Another ecosystem in extreme danger is the Earth itself. Pollution takes years to break down and destroys the soil for plants, which then means the animals that rely on those plants for survival have no source of food, and the rest is just a chain reaction. A good explanation of this is the Aussie bushfires. They razed 38,800,000 hectares in a couple of months. Those fires took out half of the koala population in 79 days. This climate crisis is having devastating effects on the planet and is endangering countless species and ecosystems. There are thousands of animals that are being threatened every day, and delicate ecosystems are being put under immense pressure. And soon, the climate crisis will be too powerful to stop. The facts are there. All we need to do is try and stop this imminent danger. I humbly ask you, try and do something about this. Help us protect our Earth for the next generation. What you do makes a difference, but you have to decide what difference you want to make.